Good morning. Welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11. You can find me on Twitter at Razzle11Grinds. Gonna take a look at some pitching for today, Thursday the 25th of May. We have a 4-game early slate and a 5-game main slate. And I'll be honest, pitching just really isn't exciting today at all. Uh, there are a few games that have some cooler weather with some wind blowing in. There's a Coors game, but there just isn't really a ton to get excited about. So we'll just take a quick look here. Unfortunately, I think for the main slate, we're going to end up somewhat chalky overall, um, which is whatever. We can just get unique with our bats, but still, it's not really enjoyable. So, anyways, let's dig in here. The early slate here, even though it's spread out over 3.5 hours, excuse me, start time wise. Zach Eflin's the most expensive pitcher on the slate, all the way up at 10.8K. Started out the season really well, has not been sharp the last few starts. Strikeout numbers have been pretty nice in 3 out of the last 4, but these home run numbers are worrisome in this matchup. I will not be removing him from my pool, but I am not going to ensure that I get overweight. I think there's a route for him to doing this, 22 to 27 fantasy point range, but there's also a very easy path to this start right here against Baltimore at under 9. We know Toronto is definitely dangerous, so I'm not overly excited about it. We just have to use him because we don't really have options. Blake Snell, probably going to draw some ownership here. His ceiling so far this year is just under 21 DK points, which is really annoying to see. If he could get things to come together, as in he's not walking a bunch of guys and that doesn't make a mistake and give up a home run, we see strikeout upside still there. He does get a solid matchup, but there are a couple guys that have hit him well, and I always use Lane Thomas against left-handed pitching. So he's not some slam dunk chalk option on this slate. Alek Manoa, I don't really want to use Alek Manoa. He got lit up by the Tampa Bay squad the one time he faced him this year. He's been not good for much of the season. Problem with it being a 4-game slate is we might be forced to roster him today. I'm not really excited about picking on Tampa Bay, even though their offense has obviously cooled down since the hot start to the season. I am just not sure what kind of upside that Manoa offers in this particular matchup. I have pretty much no interest in Miles Mikolas and Luke Weaver, but Mikolas has been solid on the road over his last 3 road starts, allowing 1, 1, and 0 runs. This K issue is kind of big in this spot. We don't really want a pitcher to allow a ton of contact in this ballpark. So I don't really have a ton of interest in him. Maybe he's a better option than Manoa. There's a question mark at the end of that. Luke Weaver flashes talent, like even in the games where he ends up giving up multiple home runs. Like there's a stretch in the game where he just is dominant, like this one against the Rangers, where he had 8 Ks and 5 2/3, but he also gave up 3 home runs. I'm not sure that he is much of an option for us today. It is an early start time. The temps are in the 60s. Winds are blowing left to right, it looks like. I don't really feel good about it. I think I'd rather use Braxton Garrett. I've been utilizing the Miami pitching staff in this series. and I think I'm going to go right back to them. Obviously, outings like these scare me, but he's been fantastic in each of the last two starts. The Colorado offense is struggling quite a bit. So I like Garrett. The problem is the wind's going to be blowing out. Um, it's in the 70s in Colorado. It's going to be a great spot for hitting, but I think we can go to Coors for some GPP pitching. Uh, I don't really trust it in cash if that's your style of play. Uh, I want to consider Kyle Freeland as well, coming off a really rough start. But I do worry about like Jorge Soltera is absolutely destroying left-handed pitching. You should really go look at his numbers. They're insane. I think he's up to like 8 home runs and 40 some plate appearances against left-handed pitching. Uh, you should go check out his numbers. I think his ISO is probably over 800 at this point. Just ridiculous run against left-handed pitching. Irvin against a struggling Padres team, maybe, but this does not give me any kind of confidence at all. Uh, he's not an overly strong pitcher, anyways. His minor league numbers weren't very strong. Um, I don't know that we can really chase this career outing in this spot. This game has a pretty high total as well, so I'm not really going to go to Irvin. But we do have to consider most guys on this 4 game slate. Switching over to the main. Um, Another similar situation in that we don't really have a ton of pitching that we must jam in, other than Logan Gilbert here taking on the A's. Just been steady. Even if he doesn't have a great game, he's been steady in most of his starts. But he does have multiple, it looks like 3 starts over at 28 or more DK points. Should be a massive favorite. I didn't take a look at any of the lines yet this morning. Bring them up on my other monitor here. Sitting at a minus 250 favorite right now. Going to be the overwhelming chalk on this slate. Logan Webb dealing with some back issues. Might not actually start the game. Pretty worrisome because there's a chance that he just might not come into the game. Like if he can't get loose or whatever. So we're going to need to monitor that news all day long. If they change course and all of a sudden he's going to start normally, then I'm for sure interested against the Brewers lineup. Not really interested in Nola at Atlanta. He's coming off a ridiculous game against the Cubs, but I'm just not a Nola guy. He's been knocked around on the road so far this year. I'm not interested in taking pitching against the Braves at this point. So no interest in the pitching in New York. Schmidt and Gibson. I was working on the morning article before I started this. I expect there to be some home runs hit in this matchup. Kyle Hendricks in his return. I'm going to dig into his rehab starts, as the day goes on. I'm going to have to be interested in him. It's windy and cooler in Chicago again today. We saw that yesterday. We saw Senga and Stroman as very popular options. I'm not as confident in this pitching matchup, but our weather station actually has a better pitching environment than last night's game was. So, Hendricks, I know, made multiple starts down in the minors in his return. So it's not like he just made 2 quick ones and maxed out at 4 innings or anything. So I will be digging in as the day goes on. Make sure to hit up Discord and I will update everybody as I dig in. Not really interested in JP Sears against the Mariners. Sorry. He's looked decent in 3 out of his last 4 starts, one of which was against Seattle. So maybe there's some upside in playing him. I'm just not in a hurry to plug him in. But as we see pitching on the slate, maybe we do have to consider adding him to the pool. And the more I just look at these names, the more I think maybe I just have to close my eyes and go there. Similar to Carlos Carrasco, I might just have to close my eyes and go there because of the pitching environment in Chicago at Wrigley. Uh, no K's really. Like he's just not healthy. I don't know. Like I'm just throwing around ideas. He might be healthy. He just might be washed. I don't know. But I think we have to consider him in the spot, and it pains me. But I would guess that he's not very chalky, given that he's been atrocious. Dylan Dodd maybe might make a player pool. Left-handed pitching against the Phillies does intrigue me enough, uh, but like the lack of strikeouts does not intrigue me. So my goal is to be able to not have to use a guy like Dodd or even Carrasco. Um, but we're limited, especially if we have to take Logan Webb out of our pool based on his back issue. Like then what are we gonna do? Do we just lock in Logan Gilbert? I mean, it's about the only way to get above the field at that point would be to lock him in. So yeah, there's a lot to think about as the day goes on. Not a great group of pitchers for this video. I should have changed it around and focused on just offenses today, just because I think that's the best plan of attack on these slates is locating the bats. But if you like what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on so that way you can get an alert every time we drop a video here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, I will put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off your monthly membership with us. And as always, best of luck, everybody.